Good morning. This is Dominic with TheBackVlog. I just read an experimental play. I think it's pretty experimental by Jackie Sibley's Drury, entitled Fairview. And this thing was really interesting. Traditionally it's got the 3-act structure, but each act is doing something really interesting, because there are a lot of themes about family dynamics and racial stereotypes and how it relates to just entertainment that we kind of consume. And I think it's really interesting because the first act is being presented as like this sitcom esque kind of thing, like a Family Matters kind of black family sitcom. And like it has like all of the slang and parts of Black American culture that makes it really interesting. And it's also like really modern in that aspect too, because like there's also like a generational thing going on where you have the teenage character kind of like butting heads with her mom and I guess kind of her aunt too, but also how the mom and the aunt are kind of not really trying to, but there's a conflict between them and the grandmother as well. Which you don't really see until the third act, which I will get to. And I think the dialogue in it in the first act is like, it's really funny. It's really like clever, and like there are things like that I was reading, like I was like laughing out loud when reading it. But when I was reading it, I was wondering, I was like, okay, where is this going to go then? Because like I'm intrigued, but what's really going on here? Because like there's definitely some sort of like tension when it comes to the family dynamics here. Then you get to Act 2, and Act 2 is going on, and it's a bunch of like white characters watching this play with all these black actors. Whereas the first act is kind of like a Family Matters kind of thing, the second act is like an Always Sunny kind of thing, where it's like you have all of these people that are pretty reprehensible and vaguely racist, and the question is posed by one character saying, if you could just turn yourself in any race, what would it be? And like there's so many little factors that go into answering a question like that, on top of the fact that answering a question like that or even asking a question like that is just kind of fucked up to begin with. But it's really interesting because you have this conversation going on between these white actors, or these white characters, played by white actors, while the black actors are still on screen, or I guess on stage, continuing the play from where they left off. So it's like you have like two actions going on at once, because it's like a play within a play, and it's really fascinating. And the way that it's like formatted here, I guess it is a little bit disorienting, just because like the way that it's written, it doesn't have both actions playing at once. It's like you have the white actors and their conversation, and then once all that's over, you have the action of like actually what's going on stage. So I guess it's up to the theater company or whatever to kind of like combine the two, and they kind of like have cues to like match the timing of the dialogue of that conversation with the action on the stage. And I think it's just really fascinating. I think the stage direction in particular actually has a lot of personality to it. I was expecting it to be like kind of more formal, but the way that Drury is writing this, like the action is it's really conversational. She's saying like things like, you do you, or something like that, and like verbatim is like something like this is going to be happening, and it's all like this, and it's all like this. And I thought that was really interesting. It's like really informal. So I don't know. I think this is kind of like the first modern play I've really read. So I don't know if more plays are written like this or what. You get to the third act then, and the third act is whenever like weird stuff starts to happen, because then this is where you start to see the grandmother, but also other characters that are mentioned throughout the first act, that, like, just kind of as an aside. And whenever the rest of the characters are introduced, like you have the grandmother, you have the uncle of the family, you have the daughter's friend, and then you have the grandmother again, which I'll get to. You know, they're slowly introduced throughout the third act, and it's not black actors, it's the white actors from Act 2. And it's really interesting and very uncomfortable. And the only person that seems to acknowledge the fact that these black family members are being played by white people is the daughter of the whole thing. And it's really odd, and it's like really uncomfortable and kind of surreal. And I don't know, it's just really well done. And there's like a whole thing at the end. I don't remember who is doing. I think it's the teenage daughter doing the monologue. It's kind of like breaking the fourth wall and like challenging the audience directly, which I guess would be assumed is like mostly white. I'm not really sure, but you know, you have this black teenager kind of, you know, going up to the white audience and trying to state that all of her struggles in life are because of her race and the kind of like deep-seated racism of America. That shouldn't discount the fact that she is a person, like not just a black person, but a person, and that aspect, the fact that she is a human being, should be appreciated. A human being who has troubles just like any other human being does, and a human being who tries their best to be a better person, regardless of whatever race. And I think that was really interesting. I thought that was really powerful. It was a really fascinating play. This was the first of this kind of play I've ever read. It's really funny and very thought-provoking, and you know, eventually very surreal, which I took a big liking to. That's it from me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe.